How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today's video we'll be checking out the operations that are coming into the game tomorrow as of the 30th of March, and we're going to see exactly what you can complete, what you can receive, and also go into some detail on what I think is pretty shady move from Wargaming. I think it's a bit of a half measure, to be honest with you. I feel like they add things in that have the concept is really good, but the actual application of it to the game is just a bit lackluster and just not what the player base could probably benefit from, and also be mutually beneficial as to the take up of whatever they implement. So first things first, we'll go through the operations and then talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. But the first thing we have is this leading the charge challenge. This has been in the game multiple times, I think, by now, and it's a case of getting an extra 25% silver bonus, and you can get that by placing in the top 5 XP earners on your team in a winning battle. This will be applicable for 5 wins per day, or 5 battles per day, so you can do this 5 times, and then that's it for your daily limit. It will then reset the next day, and this will run for a whole week. So for those of you who want to grind out some silver, I would recommend for the first few games that you play to play in a premium tank, which will make the most of this 25% silver bonus, and then after your 5 wins per day, you can move on to a different tank should you wish to. Obviously, it's all up to you, but that would make the most amount of silver possible using this operation, and also mean that you won't have to play as many premium tanks if you're trying to grind out silver for the new Polish line or whatever you're actually focusing on at the minute. So that's that operation. We've got another assignment that's coming out this week, tomorrow, and that is assignment golf. I think this is the 7th one of the year. It's not a particularly good one, in my opinion. I think it's pretty boring. There's not much in it. You get your usual silver amounts for completing it. I think it will take you 60,000 XP in total to be able to complete this over the course of the week, and for the big grand prize, you'll get 5 3x tank XP boosters and 5 times 4 commander XP boosters. Pretty terrible, to be honest with you. And I mean, if you're not particularly playing that much, I wouldn't recommend grinding this out, but for the sake of it, if you don't really want to play, because they're not really that worth it. Along the way, you will pick up about 250,000 silver as well on top of this. Coming up to like 300,000 silver, so if you're playing the game anyway, you're going to pick up the 300,000 and also these XP boosters, but it certainly isn't an assignment I would 100% go for. I mean, the wording on this, giant rewards, I mean, like XP boosters are not giant rewards, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I mean, it's there for free, so you can't complain too much, but it certainly isn't quite like our key cards or the other sort of stuff we usually get from the game. And then we have the April Fool's drops. These are kind of where you can pick up emblems or customizations for your tanks, so you can put them on your little inscriptions and stuff like that, that you can put in on your tanks. You also get the possibility of getting some commanders. You know, you've got the trickster male and the trickster female. I don't know whether they have any specific dialogue in game. I doubt it, but they're going to be, you know, for some of those that want to collect your commanders and the various different ones in the game, you know, they're always there. Now, in terms of the reward, what do you have to do? You have to win a battle, and once you've won that battle, you'll get a first completion medal, you donkey. So you see that this little medal, and then subsequent completions, you'll get a random drop, and that random drop comes from this list right now. So if you want to stop the video and have a look at any in particular, then you can see them on screen. I'll scroll down slowly for you guys if you want to have a look yourself. There's quite a few, and I'm quite happy that they're bringing in these kind of customizations and stuff like that for you to be able to pick up for free. You know, at the end of the day, you know, this sort of stuff is what makes grinding the game worth it, because, you know, if you're after all of these customization, it gives you something to do, and I'd like to see more of that content in terms of long term events, even if you could get a specific emblem, for playing loads and loads and loads, completing tons and tons of challenges, and you get a special really rare emblem, that'd be really cool. And I'd like to see more of these sort of events, so that if that guy has an emblem like that, they've played a lot and it's prestigious in game. So as for the April Fools, there'll probably be some actual joke in game. They'll release something tomorrow or on the 1st of April. I don't know what that will be yet. It might not be anything too much, but yeah, hopefully it will be something that is only a joke and it isn't something that people have been hyped up about, like the modern tanks or anything like that. And then finally, as part of this week, it's the controversial thing. It is the get your next premium tank with free XP. So as part of this, you can pick up premium tanks with free XP. So if you've got a lot of free XP on your account and you don't really know what to do with it, you've ground out a load of lines, you've got loads of tier 10s, then this is something you can kind of have a look at in terms of if you haven't got some of these premium tanks. Now, you can pick up between, I reckon it's about 10 premium tanks in this kind of rotation of this event. You'll be able to pick them up, but the prices that they're charging are ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. The gold price of the Lance and Sea is 7,500 gold. And then we look at the free XP price, it's 187,500 free XP. Now, if we get a calculator up right now, and we look at 7,500 times 35, we're looking at 262,500 free XP. So if you want to pick up this tank at the current moment, you can pick it up on a hefty discount of the gold value. So if we're looking at 187,500, you'll be looking at dividing that by 35, which means you'll have to spend 5,357 gold in order to pick up this tank. So you've got a hefty discount. If we look at 7,500 divided by 5,357, you're looking at about like a 40% discount, I believe. So it's a decent discount, I guess, but if you don't really want the tank in the first place and you've been saving up a lot of free XP, it's probably not worth getting these premium tanks, because in my eyes, I'd rather just pay with gold when they're 50% off. That way you know that they're 50% off. And also, you'll be able to pick up the tier 10s, which would cost a lot more gold if you wanted them separately, and some of them you can't even buy with gold. And so in my eyes, I'd save your free XP to be able to pay for those tier 10s with that. Now, what do I find a problem with this event in particular, and this kind of thing that they're trying to do for the week? They're giving you the option to pick up premium tanks. I don't have a problem with that. It's a good idea for those of you who have stacked up loads of free XP. You've been playing the game for years and years and years, and to be able to use it on something to pick up a premium tank that might have been stale or whatever is going to be a real help. But when they limit the tanks that you can buy with free XP is a real problem for me. I think that it just ends up becoming a bit of a system where you can pick up terrible tanks here. None of these are particularly amazing. I mean, you have the Defender, but that was an earn operation anyway, so it wasn't particularly amazing. So you can pick up the Defender, but the rest of them aren't amazing. The HMH M58 is actually not too bad. But yet again, it's just a system where if they just made it available for every single premium tank in the game, you can pick up any tank in the game so long as it's not like an actual limited edition tank or something like that. With free XP, it would just make it better. I don't see why they don't just implement it on the premium tech tree, have it for a weekly event, that's done, then roll it out in 6 months time for another week, and then people can pick it up. I think having that sort of system is probably better. I don't like the fact they always limit it. Same with the trade-in program. You can only trade in certain tanks, and then you can pick up different tanks for 50% of the gold price of your tank that you trade in. I find that very, very weird, and I'd rather them just release every single tank in the game for the trade-in or this kind of event as well. I think is a bit shady the way that they add these in, but then they give you a list of tanks that you can pick up, and it just seems a little lackluster in my opinion. And it would have been a great event should it have been available to every tank, every premium tank that isn't really rare or really special, you know, like the Edelweiss or something like that. As long as it was just a tank in the premium tech tree, I think that they should have done it like that instead of having these terrible tanks for the most part as ones that you can pick up or pretty lackluster, and ones that, you know, have been released anyway. You know, the Atomic Centurion, everyone's been given a Huntsman Centurion, which isn't too far off. Everyone's been given a Defender. Were you there for the Defender Urnop? Everyone's got the Draugen if you were there for the Draugen Urnop. It just seems like, you know, half of these tanks are just the non-skinned versions of tanks that we've already received, or just versions of tanks that are very, very similar in playstyle. So it just seems a bit rubbish, to be honest with you. And although I like the idea of being able to use your free XP, I think that they could have done it in a better system in order to make more tanks available for those of you who play. And the thing that people might say is, well, what about the people that save up their free XP? Surely they shouldn't just be able to get a load of gold prices in terms of their tanks because they play so much, you know, giving Wargaming less money because they're not purchasing premium tanks, they're saving up free XP. Well, to those people, I'd like you to try and grind out 400,000 free XP on your account, so that you can farm this system, because that's probably the equivalent of about 4 million XP, normal XP, which is probably around 4,000 games for the average player. So yeah, the idea that this is going to be able to be farmed is just a fallacy. So I just think that, you know, if you're able to actually get the free XP, you should be able to spend it however you like, and it will just generate people to want to use maybe the free XP where they had 100,000 on a tank that they really wanted for ages, and so they'll spend gold, whereas if they don't have it, they're just not going to spend it on a tank that they don't want. So I think making the actual list longer, or having a lot more premiums on there, or just all of the premiums, would make this a whole lot better. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. What do you think about this? I mean, it's a good addition for those of you who have free XP, but I think the implementation could have definitely been a lot better and more diverse. Hopefully Wargaming will take a note of this and maybe just release it for all of the premium tanks in the premium tank tech tree, because I don't think that would be a problem, so long as it's not all of the time and it's just as a weekly event, and so long as the really rare tanks aren't within that category. But obviously Wargaming don't do that anyway. So other than that, I think that's pretty much everything for this video. I'd like to see what you guys thought. Give me some of your suggestions as to how you'd implement this sort of system, whether you think that this was actually sufficient, or whether you think they could have expanded upon it, you know, introduced the trade-in system a little bit better as well, and had that in the game as well. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. If you want to check out some of the previous content on the channel, that will be on screen right now. But other than that, I hope you have a good rest of your day once again, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.